All right, good evening, guys. Ken at Tortoise Capital, daily evening strategy summary. I'm having trouble with the XLQ database. So what I'm going to do is go over the speed run of the symbols. I'm going to go over the masterclass lessons and just hit some of those highlights. There's some important ones. Bottom line is that it is a market direction. We are sideways volatile. You got to get the intraday market timing and direction right, and it is not a time to be stock picking, with a few exceptions, as we'll see when we get to the speed run. So this is what I want to highlight tonight: the master class for today, 2020-03. I guess that should be 05. Sorry. The most important lesson. So what I said last night. And in the previous nights that I think is just got to be reinforced a lot. That when the market is in volatile conditions, either bear volatile or sideways volatile, certainly, and the risk Z has rolled over into the winter, and we're in the winter on MACD histogram, that is not the time to be using routine rules about swing positions taking long and all that. It is most important now to be reducing the end-of-day exposure and letting each daily session be its own thing until the next 16 hours of the news cycle works its way through what I call the cognosphere. So by that I mean in core and turbo, you're let the intraday directional volatility give you the wins, and what's happening is there is no follow through on the swing trade. So the short-term trade is optimized. The swing trading time frame is problematic. So the risk Z clearly shows what's up seasonally, as the four seasons do. So that means we got to be doing the following things: rigged for stormy weather, all hands on deck, battle stations. And I want to point out the time to fix leaks and rehearse is before the storm hits. Don't try to patch the boat in the middle of a hurricane. So when do you watch the barometer or the indicators? Always. You're always on the lookout for that. So this, more than any other time, you got to get the market direction, market conditions right first, because that's 50% of our results. So we're going to take a look at WPM, and the lesson to learn on that one is going to be about a pretty good PSAR is really actually pretty good, and until proven otherwise, it's a pretty good exit management strategy, right? We're going to look at a couple really good case study series in the intraday DIA, and then a volatility trade in UVXY. And those have been my three focus stocks, although I did a little bit of work with Brazil and Mexico today as well. Okay. So I just want to really reinforce those lessons. Yeah, let's just go right to that. Let's just go right to the case studies. All right, so this is a quick look at WPM, wheat and precious metals. And what I want you to notice on the intraday trade here is right around half an hour into the day, we got this collapsing dragon, a double collapsing dragon in here. So short, and then covered at the owl, and the PSAR flip in the usual way. I just want you to notice that from the peak of the dragon to the belly of the dragon, how nicely that tuned PSAR really is for stop management. And then coming the other way after the owl exit and an owl entry when it crosses the Bollinger Band mean. Notice how good this PSAR exit is all the way up. I thought hard about taking a third position here, but 2 felt like it was enough, and it was getting close to this test anyway. So this rolled over and exit, and then short with a fractional win. And again, notice how good the PSAR flip is, or how good the PSAR is, and the pretty good timing on the PSAR flip. I mean, what do you want? An owl reentry. You could also look at this as almost a pocket reentry, because if you said here's a swing low, here's a higher low, and you get the RLXD. So buying in that little nook, that elbow, if you will, is something that I really like. So, and it's crossing, the RL10 is crossing the VWAP. So enter. On this one, when it breaks out above the RL270, second position, when it breaks above this RL10 and the previous hump of the dragon, third position, and again, that PSAR flip, or the PSAR never flinched. All right, so this one is the Dow. So this is 30 minutes in, buying the owl and RLXD cash. The second leg up, so you're buying a pocket re-entry on the RLXD. Here's a low, here's a higher low, so you buy this. Second position when it clears the RL10s, the humps right in there, and breaks out above that Z3, if you will. Second position and cash. The second one does not make a new high, and then the dragon hump rolls over. So you're short here with a stop here, and then notice how good the PSAR is all the way down. First position, second position when it crosses the VWAP, owl, or the RLXD entry, or RLXD cover, and then the owl entry. And then this is the trade frame I want you to notice that on this one, I would stop. This one red arrow means I would stop and reverse right around 263, or the belly of the RL10. And I would add a second position if it crosses the VWAP, and a third position if it crosses above the hump. So that's the way I typically plan to add those positions, based on confirmation of price action. This is a continuation of that previous. So this entry right here is really the same entry. You know, that's like at 12:30. That's this entry here at 12:30. You know, the that owl entry. So I just shrunk it down so you can see. So that's the owl entry. That's scratched with a stop and reverse. Second position and cover on the RL10, reverse it in a 1, 2, 3 exit. Tried long, fractional loss. Stopped and reversed short, fractional gain. Owl entry and cover. So pretty nice trade. UVXY, this is that double leveraged VIX ETF, just massive goodness. So now we're the big meltdown today started right around lunchtime, my time out here in Central Time Zone. So took the double bottom and the second RLXD. I think of that kind of like a lazy owl. This held support at the VWAP and then resumed, so I bought it. It took out the previous Z3 excursion, you know, the maximum. Excuse me, the maximum excursion from the previous Z3. So third position, and that was just enough. Now at this point, after I've made that gain, I take a look at this from the excuse me, from the peak of the RL10 to the belly of the RL10. That looks to me like that yellow zone of noise plus this little oscillation here. I see that as the beginning of the like a Z3 pinch or a sideways quiet channel. And so this is where I would be setting up this trade frame to either go long at the breakout of the green line or short at the breakout below the red line. I would add my second position if it were to cross the VWAP, third position if it violated the belly of the dragon. So this is how I use that standard trade geometry to start planning my second and third positions. This were today's numbers on the MACD histogram 4 seasons. UVXY returned 23% today. VXX oddly at 16%. So even though UVXY is supposed to be double, it really only seems to work out to about 1.5. Treasuries, the Virgin Galactic was good. Wheat and precious metals was good. Then everything else suffered today. And here's where oil was, and slightly better than the S&P, which was here. Oh, pardon me. No, I don't have the corona. This is just me sneezing from pollen. Today's market health check. Disappointing, no follow through today. Gap down, and ended up selling off. Not a big range day. Excuse me. Not a big range day. The 10-day range shrunk a little bit to the upside. The 10-day high is starting to decay a little bit, but still a big 30-day range. Now we're at about about a 13% sell-off from the swing high. We're still marginally above Monday's open, so it's still marginally good, but really what's dominating here is the risk C is down, and the MACD histogram is deep into the winter at minus 14. That's how bad this has been. Quick look at the speed run. So Alcoa got short one today on general weakness in materials and U.S. Steel and Cliff. So all of those end up being short today. Apple. Come on now, let's work with me. Apple suffered today. I'm not short or anything. I'm stalking that one. Long the Aussie. Boeing got short one today. Caterpillar, I'm just stalking that, although that was one that is suffering from the slowdown. Jesus. Oh, the timing couldn't be any better on this. Short one in Cliff. We took the fractional loss and cut. I just don't like the way that market is shaping up, and that one usually tracks economic activity pretty well, but everything looks like it's failing. So I took the fractional loss on that swing. Diamonds, I'm only playing that with the with UDOW intraday right now. Devon Energy hasn't broken out of our yellow consolidation box yet. Emerging markets, we got short one. It broke down from its yellow noise box here. EFA, I'm just stalking it. I could have gotten short, but I had enough short exposure. Japan still in the consolidation box. Mexico short one. It broke down. Brazil short one. Home Depot, we covered the long because that just didn't follow through. It was still fairly strong compared to the rest, but I wanted to lock in the gain. The Russell, I'm stalking it. I'm getting ready to get short that one, I suppose. I'd rather play the other ones, though, rather than the Russell. The Dow has been weaker than the Russell. No action on real estate, just stalking it. Short one on McDonald's. PBW, the long is still in place. That's one of the few swing longs we have, and that just held up well. It seems almost immune. SPCE, it closed well today, so even though we're still underwater, I'm still respecting my initial swing stop here. That's about a 25% box of a stop right there. Simon Property Group got one on economic slowdown, got short one, economic slowdown. Treasuries re-entered the swing trade here today at the open. Tesla, I got short one. I just think it's going to come back down to 600. UDOM trading intraday. Natural gas, just stalking. There's a bigger fish to fry. Oil was weak. I'll get short if it goes below that green line. We're trading UVXY intraday. Wiz, I think, is broken. Walmart, we covered the long not covered. We exited the long today. I wanted to make bank on it, and it got everything I wanted. It was from the Z3 all the way back to the Bollinger Band mean. Wheat and precious metals, the swing is still working, and it actually worked pretty well today. Held up. Win, we got short one today. U.S. Steel. I'm sorry, that should be a red dot. Sorry about that. No, as you were. That's right. We did talk about that one yesterday. Thanks for reminding me. That was one where I bought on the swing. That's when I said because it's around 8. I was gonna. That's right. I bought this today with a $2 stop, and I'm just going to leave it alone and see how it goes. That one's a real long-term one for me. Just watching basic materials, although they did suffer today. Energy, I got short one. Finance got short one. Covered the long in or exited the long in XLK. I wanted to get paid. And then healthcare, I'm just stalking. Okay, so that's a quick look at speedrun and the key ones. So for tomorrow, it's all the same suspects. Absolutely no change to the intraday strategy. Try to get a read on the market direction from the futures and to get an idea of the magnitude of the move. Use hybrid frogs to go long or short, and then start with frog champions. And I just really want you to pay attention. Look at the power of these very long safe trades with the PSAR as your trailing stop. That looks to me like a really nice way to play that. And then the PSAR is 0.02 and 0.12. That's the setting that I'm using, so I encourage you to keep after that. Okay? That's everything I wanted to cover tonight, now that I've stopped sneezing. Pending any of your questions, that's everything I got for you tonight. I'll get this published and posted in the room. Thanks so much, guys. Keep your wrist measured and your powder dry.